Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, I'm giving you one of the best, most versatile spring lists that's floating around today. This list will be for everybody from the younger crowd to the mature crowd. And I'm gonna give you 10 fragrances that's all versatile and some are for different occasions. And I also will tell you how I apply these fragrances to get great results. Now, one of the fragrances on the list is loved by a lot of people in the community. Stick around and I'm gonna tell you a layering combo that take that fragrance from being just good and make it also great. And just to give you a sneak preview, the fragrance that I'm talking about layering and making it from just being a playful fragrance to a mature fragrance, and that is Howells. But stick around to find out how I layer this fragrance to make it a whole lot better. Now the first fragrance up is a fragrance that no one talk about. I don't think I've seen any reviews on this fragrance, but if you look on the ratings and if you look on any fragrance site, the ratings is like 8s or more. And the fragrance is kind of in the same genre as Howells. I say it's about 50% the same, but this is more darker, have dark green notes, and it's also a mature fragrance in my opinion. I go one behind each ear, one on the front of the neck. I go about 5 or 6 on the chest, and that will give you good results. And the fragrance I'm talking about is coming from the house of Swiss Arabian, and that's Raki. Now in the opening, you get mint to make it green and minty. You get lavender, you get some ginger, bringing a little spice, and you get this nice juicy lemon note. Then once it dries down some, you get that fruity apple, you get that green cardamom spice, that making it very sexy, very manly. Then you're also left with some vetiver in the base, making this fragrance woody, citrusy, sweet, fruity. And the only thing that's separated from a lot of the fragrances in the same genre is it very green. So it's a very nice fragrance. I think you will enjoy it. It was cheap. I think I paid probably $25 for this, but it's a very nice spring, also summer fragrance. One I think you will enjoy and I think you need to check out, and that's Rack from the House of Swiss Arabian. The next fragrance up is a fragrance that I think is kind of lost from this house, but it's still a nice fragrance and it's very aquatic. Now how I apply this fragrance, I go one behind each ear, I go one on the front of the neck, one on the back of the neck, and I go about 2 on my chest. And the fragrance is coming from the House of Mascara, and that is Oud Blue Notes. Now when you're talking about a nice green, aquatic summer fragrance, spring fragrance, this is the one that always crosses my list. This starts off with, you get some green notes, almost leafy. You get some citruses up top, smell like of a lemon, maybe an orange note. Then once it dries down some, you get a lot of floral notes consisting of yin yang, you get an orange, and you get a touch of violet. So the heart and part of the dry down is very floral, mixed with some aquatic, some greenness. Then when it fully dries down, you get vanilla, you get amber, making it sweet and spicy. So overall, this fragrance is fresh, it's aquatic, it's woody, it's green, it's sweet with a touch of florals. And that's coming from the House of Mascara, and that's Oud Blue Notes, a very lovely fragrance. Now this next fragrance, when I think of spring, I think of greenness, I think of leaves falling. And this is the perfect fragrance that reminds me of nothing but the greenness of spring. Now how I apply this fragrance, I go one behind each ear, I go about 3 or 4 on my chest, and that's enough to get you throughout the day. And it's a very green fragrance that reminds you of grass, leaves. And the fragrance I'm talking about is coming from the House of Banana Republic, and that's Vintage Green 78. Now this fragrance is dominated by a green tea note that's gonna last throughout the fragrance. You're also gonna get this fig note that's making it fruity, making it very green. And you get this palm leafy note. So the top is very green, very fruity, aromatic, herbal with that green tea note. The fig note makes it milky, sweet, and fruity. Once it's settled in, you're gonna get some citrus notes of orange. You're gonna get some vetiver. They're making it kind of earthy. You get a little touch of jasmine, and you get this musky note. When it fully dries down, that when you get that cedar wood. So this fragrance is very green, it's fresh, has some citrus notes, but it's mostly dominated by that green tea note and that fig note. And when you're thinking about green fragrances, when you think about spring fragrances, this is the perfect fragrance for the spring. And that is Vintage 78 from the House of Banana Republic. Another fragrance that evokes greenness, that evokes like being in the forest, like a damp feel. But what this fragrance brings to my mind is like a dark night in the springtime. And how I apply this fragrance, I go one behind each ear, I go about 4 on the chest, and that's enough to last you out throughout the day. But when you're talking about green, mossy, ivy type fragrances, this is the one I think you should consider. A little pricey. All in all, a very great fragrance that provokes nothing but green. And the fragrance I'm talking about is coming from the house of Amouage, and that is Beach Hut Man. Now this fragrance is mainly mint up top. You're gonna get some galbanum that making it sharp and green. You're also gonna get this orange blossom that making it citrusy, bright and warm. But the middle of the fragrance is really what dominated. You get some ivy, you get moss that making it slightly green, musky, musty. You get vetiver that making it more earthy, and you get patchouli when it completely dries down, making this fragrance very green, spicy, earthy, slightly dirty, woody. But this is more like for going out. I don't think this is like for the early part of the day, but later on in the night, you rock this and rock this well. And that's coming from the house of Amouage, and that's Beach Hut Man. Next up is another cheapie that I don't think I have seen too many reviews on. But if you want a manly, mature fragrance for the springtime, this is one I think you definitely will enjoy. I kind of over apply this because to me, the performance is kind of average. But the fragrance I'm talking about that no one's talking about, and look on the site, it get like an 8 rating. It's coming from the house of Risasi, and that is Emotion. Now how I apply this, I go one behind each ear, one on the front of the neck, back of the neck, and I go about 4 or 5 on my chest. And that's enough for some good projection, some decent performance. It's kind of like a classy gentleman fragrance, but I got to apply this to see what I'm getting. Bergamot and orange blossom starts the show. The heart, you get spices from cinnamon, you get floral notes of lavender, and you get more floral notes of violet. The base is amber for spice. You get a musky note. You get a light touch of patchouli for earthiness, and tonka is coming in later on to bring some sweetness. So the whole composition is sweet, spicy, floral, with a little touch of powderiness. But one is a very underrated fragrance, and it's one I think you will enjoy. I hate the bottle, but other than that, it's a very lovely fragrance, and that's Emotion from the house of Risasi. Up next is a fragrance that also provokes a lot of green, dark notes, but it reminds me of spring at night. Now the fragrance to me is a beast mode performer, so I'm going one behind each ear. I'm going about 2 on my chest. And the one I'm talking about is from the house of Rogue, and that's Mousse Limonar. Now at the start of this fragrance, you're getting that artemisia that making it bitter, making it green, almost herbaceous. You get some mossy notes that making it earthy, and you're getting this bay leaf note that's making it very green. So the top is bitter, green, slightly earthy, and slightly floral. Then about 10 minutes in, you're getting that cypress note that's making it citrusy, slightly spicy, followed up by cedar and frankincense to add a little smoke. Now this fragrance is green, woody, spicy, and very smoky. It's one I very much enjoy, and I know you will too. A little pricey for what you get, but to me, it's one well worth the price because you don't have to apply much, maybe 4 sprays total, and you can project, smell really great wearing it. And that's Mousse Limonar from the house of Rogue. Up next, this fragrance get low ratings, but to me, I think it's a great fragrance. It's a new fragrance in my collection that I just recently added. It's one that I very much enjoy. It's in the same vein as Amouage Sunshine Woman. With this, you get more fruits, and to me, that makes it a great fragrance for the spring. Now, how I apply this, I go about 4 or 5 on my chest. I go 1 behind my neck. And the fragrance I'm talking about is a new addition to mine, and it's coming from the house of Azar in that white cashmere. Now, when the fragrance starts off, you're gonna get this juicy mandarin orange note. When it dries up, you're gonna get this white blossom, making it floral. The base is sweet and creamy with sandalwood and vanilla, leaving this fragrance sweet, woody, floral, and fruity. If you like Amouage Sunshine Woman with no tobacco, but more fruits, I'm not saying it's a clone, I'm not saying it's similar, but it's in the same genre, then it's one you might want to check out. And that's White Cashmere from the house of Azar Perfumes. Up next is one that's fairly new to my collection. I probably had about 6 months. And how I apply this, I go 3 or 4 on my chest, 1 on the front of the neck, 1 on the back of the neck. And the fragrance I'm talking about is Maisto General from the house of Zerjoff. Now, if you're familiar with Silver Mountain Water from Creed, then this is in the same neighborhood. But to me, this is a little bit more spicier with more fruits in it. Now, when it starts off, you're gonna get this very juicy lemon, accompanied by a nice floral manly lavender. It goes into the heart and becomes floral with violet, rose, and iris. The base consists of amber, cedar, and musk. Now, this is fresh, citrusy, floral, has some slightly woody notes, and it's aquatic. One that I really enjoy, and I think you will too, and that's coming from the house of Zerjoff, and that's Maisto General. Up next is a fragrance that will always make my spring list and some of my summer list, because in my mind, this is what spring smell like. Now, this is the Beast Mode Performer, so applications, you only have to go one behind each ear, one on the front of the neck, one on the back of the neck. I might go one on the chest just to give it that extra ump, but that's enough to get you throughout the day. But when you're talking about a great spring fragrance, a little bit more on the mature side, it's an older fragrance, but it don't smell like it's old. It smells like it's still modern. And the fragrance I'm talking about is coming from the house of Bugari, and that's Bugari Extrem. I think they once discontinued this fragrance. I had it, sold it, and I had to get it again when it came back out because it's one fragrance that I really miss having in my collection. Now up top, you're gonna get a heavy dose of grapefruit that's gonna last throughout the fragrance. You're gonna get a little touch of neroli. Now neroli is not one of my favorite notes, so it's not much, it's just a little touch. You're also gonna get this tea note. Those three notes gonna pretty much dominate the fragrance and last throughout the fragrance. When it reaches the heart, you get coriander that making it warm and spicy. Getting a tiny touch of lavender. You get rosewood that making it bitter, making it orange. It's peppery. You get some guaiac wood. You get cedar and oak moss in the base. Now this is fresh, citrusy, woody, spicy, and it's also green. Perfect for the spring that I will always add to my spring collection, and that's Bugari Extrem. Last on this list, and I'm gonna give you a layering combo for it. Now, if you melt this fragrance, it's kind of playful, kind of too aquatic. And if you don't like it to being too playful, too aquatic, and you want it a little bit more manly, more masculine, then I suggest you try it with this right here. Lavender and collagen, and you can pick this up at Ross. Now this is a strong fragrance, so application you'll have to go one on the front, one on the back of the neck, and probably two on your chest. But you add the layering with that body lotion, making it a little bit more manly, more mature, slightly less aquatic. Now it's not gonna change the whole fragrance profile, but once people get up close and smell you, it will add some tiny nuances that change the fragrance around. But along you get apple, lemon, and bergamot, so the top is very citrusy, very fruity. You get melon, that's very much dominate the fragrance. You get cedar wood that making it woody, amber wood that making it potent, bring up the intensity, and you get ambergris that making it musky. Now this fragrance is fresh, fruity, sweet, aquatic, but if you add the layer of lavender, it'll make it a little bit more manly, a little bit more manageable. But it's one, regardless whether you layer it or not, it's a perfect fragrance for spring. And that is Howells coming from the house of Rasasi. All right, guys, that's it. You know what to do. Leave me a thumbs up if you like the video. Consider subscribing. Everybody stay safe. Come back and see me. Peace.